to order. We are missing Sarah, who had contacted, she's got another obligation, and Kashana, I don't know.
I just texted her.
Oh, okay. You've heard, okay. Otherwise, everybody's here. Entertain a motion on agenda review.
Move to approve the agenda as posted.
I'll second.
Been moved and second to approve the agenda as posted. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. And then we've got a Zone 7 application, fill the vacancy. And just before we get into this, so we everybody on the same page, we can select tonight by just consensus. We won't take a formal vote, but just consensus if we agree. And then at the regular July meeting, we'll appoint a person. And they'll assume their position at that time and have a vote at that time. And Gene Cannon? Sir. Come on down, sir. The board has had the opportunity to read your little piece you put in, so.
Okay. Well, my name is Gene Cannon, as you guys obviously know from reading that. Yeah, I kind of saw this opening pop up in my email, and you know, being a president of Silverton Youth Softball, you talk with a lot of community members and family members, and it's kind of one of those you realize there's a lot of complaints to be had, and you can stand on the sideline and complain with them all, or you can you know, literally jump on a board and you know, try and be influential in some way. And so I just saw the opening and thought it was a great opportunity for me to kind of jump on board and try and help move the school district in a way that I hear parents talking about amongst, you know, in the softball groups and baseball and coaching and stuff that I do. So yeah, that's really what led me here. Yeah, just excited to have the opportunity and appreciate your guys' time and consideration.
Any board members have any questions?
I have.
Yeah, go ahead.
First, thank you for applying and willing to serve. Second, my main question is, you mentioned in your introduction that you've been on multiple boards.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah,
on that?
so going back, so originally I'm from Roseburg, Oregon originally, and my family's pretty deeply ingrained with auto racing down there. And so I served on a board with the Douglas County Fairgrounds for a while. And then I also served on, it's called the Northwest Sprint Car Racing Association board. Mm-hmm. And then I actually led another board called the Wingless Sprint Series. And I actually just stepped away from that board as I was president for 5 years, and I stepped away from that because my daughter was getting more involved in softball. And then I ended up taking over softball from Sam Werdinger as of last September. So it was a lot of racing boards, ran a lot of racing organizations and stuff like that. So mostly I would say like hobbyist type stuff, but in a similar fashion, you know, you're kind of taking care of a greater organization than yourself. So
Thank you.
mm-hmm.
Well, I just want to say thank you for applying.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're transparent. Can we say how many we got
Well, I think it's obvious, I mean.
on one application? So things would have got interesting. So thank you for doing it, and
Yeah.
look forward to working with you.
It's quality, not quantity.
Yeah.
It'll be less uncomfortable than the last time.
Yeah.
Well, can we all agree that we encourage Gene to come back to the next meeting and he'll be put to work probably?
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I would just like to say,
good.
Gene, thank you. Thank you for taking over this role. This is a great board, great people to work with. I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Actually, I know too, I don't know if Derek remembers me, we went to high school together, ironically. And then Wally, obviously, your granddaughter plays for me, so, yeah,
Cool.
Pretty cool, so,
Yeah. Okay.
all right.
Yep.
Nice
See,
to
it'd
meet
be
you.
the.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, the 13th of July.
Okay, sounds good.
6:30.
All right.
Okay.
You guys need me for anything else tonight?
No.
All right,
No,
thank
you-
you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have
See
a
you next time.
night off while you can get them.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Okay, the enterprise zones, Kim,
Oh, yeah, well, I think Daniel had a question about this last time, about whether we could charge less than 15, was it not Daniel?
For the record, it was
Yes.
the wall.
Yes.
Oh, was
me.
it Wally? Okay, sorry. Wrong end of the table, sorry. And when we checked with the attorney, we cannot. So we have to charge between 15 and 30% for the enterprise zone fee that we can charge as a district. So I would recommend choosing that lower amount,
Mhm.
probably.
Thank you.
Thanks for checking on
following
that.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're welcome. No problem at all.
That was a good question as well, just to figure out if there was anything else lower that we could do, so.
Yep, if we're trying to induce business.
I have a question for Tom. Clarification. I just want to make sure I really understand this funding. You know, I have issues with this state funding concept. So if we start charging 30% instead of 15, for example, we really don't benefit from it, right? Because then the state pulls that 15% extra that we would get from that taxation from what they sent us, right?
Yeah, if it's
Correct.
if anything considered local revenue is
It's local.
deducted.
Yeah.
But the same is true for timber.
Yeah.
So in some school districts, they receive more from timber than they would receive from the state, so
Yeah.
they receive zero from the state.
Yeah.
It's all a convoluted form.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Jewel.
I
Jewel's
just
an
want to make
example
sure
of that.
I understand, and it's somewhat on the record, that I now understand how strange the whole concept is.
How strange school funding is in
And-
Oregon.
Yeah, yeah.
and Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure you will. But even such a thing as you'll see districts do operating levies for serial levies. And those levies, you're allowed a certain percentage that doesn't go against
Correct.
your state funding, but if you pass that amount on that levy,
And I-
same thing happens. It
That's
starts
true, and I
coming
don't
away
know how
from-
often that's looked at in terms of a max amount or
Right.
a cap by OD. That's a good question. I'll look into that.
Yeah, there's some cap amount
They
on
should adjust
what
that
a,
every
what a
year.
levy can be before it starts coming off the state.
Otherwise, you could view it as a wash if you get additional funding through an
Mm.
additional levy, and then they reduce the SSF payment.
Right, so, because a lot of people don't understand that either and think a levy will fit, but it only, we can a couple of percent or something like that, but after that, then it starts working against us too.
Right.
So, local control isn't what it used to be.
No.
Not even close.
Okay, any other further discussion on the enterprise zone? Okay, moving on to union bargaining update, Kim.
Yeah, so we met with licensed again today, and we had a good meeting, and we're through most of the language. We've got one big piece of language that we're still working on, and we're getting really close to being into the financials. And so we have, they submitted an offer to us, and we gave a counteroffer back, so we're working back and forth on that. So that's, I mean, I think that one's going well. I do think we're gonna take July off with licensed, and we are working on a few things, in the background to try and, work on a couple language things inside the contract, so, that's going on inside the district office. Classified, we've gone back and forth about, and this is all public information, it's on the website, so Marissa posts all of this information. We've had a couple of asks from the classified union, one for an insurance pool. And that is, that would be an expensive endeavor for the district, and would cut into our ending fund balance pretty significantly. So the insurance pool is about a $600,000 hit for the budget, according to my finance guru down there. And so we're trying to find some alternatives to that, because that is difficult for the district. We have expressed that your, especially Wally, preference is that we stay in our ending fund balance range and not drop below, and that we really stay near that upper portion, which is that 8% that we talked about. And so we're trying to uphold the board's goals for rebuilding our financial stability. But I think that we're going to have to provide more data about that. So I think in our next meeting on July 16th, we have a smaller team meeting. I think we will go over some data. We countered back with an insurance amount. And when we did the comparables, which we will share, We are, and these are all public numbers because these are out on other districts' contracts. We are one of the higher districts for insurance premiums for our staff members, for both licensed and classified. And so, you know,
I'm sorry, are you talking about what they charge us as the highest or percentage of participation?
our contribution that we
Okay.
give our employees is higher than other
And
districts.
then can I
Yes.
ask you another question, because I want
If
to
you
make sure I
get,
understand.
if you get too deep, we'd have
No,
to
no,
go
no.
into executive session.
No, I just
Okay.
meant, what is the definition of the insurance pool? Is that like a HSA account type deal with your
It's-
contribution?
It
or-
is, yeah, I'm gonna let Tom, I mean, I know what it is too, but
It's been something that's been going around as an idea.
Okay,
And what it is the concept is we, as a school district, give each employee per month an allotment for insurance costs.
okay.
Some employees might be up to that, or they might be a little bit more and have some out of pocket. Some employees already have insurance, like they're covered from a spouse.
Okay.
And so they get a smaller amount, which is kind of their opt-out. We give you this in lieu of. The concept between the pool is the difference between those two collectively are all put together
Okay.
into a pool that the union can then use as they see fit.
the real problem is that the district, like when we're doing our budgeting though, we budget on actuals. We don't budget on,
Everybody receiving the monthly
yeah,
insurance.
we don't. We know what percentage of our employees opt out, and that's what we budget for, right? So there's a large disconnect, there's a $600,000 disconnect between, you know, what we budget and what that pot or pool would cost.
So just so I understand, so the people that are affected are the ones that have insurance through their spouse, and they want to have a greater share of,
No,
It
they're,
doesn't affect.
they're not affected. They just are inadvertently part of the formula that creates the pool because they are the difference in dollars between opting out and somebody that receives the allotment towards insurance because they receive insurance.
so
And that-
what's the pool supposed to be used for then?
Whatever the union sees fit.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, so that's been kind of a sticking point for us, and we're trying to get past that, so.
So I have just a couple things here. I've tried to watch every single one of them, but watching them, you don't get to see a lot. I think that's probably all done in caucusing between both parties. And then again, not much. The documents right now, I'm trying to find the website, it doesn't seem to be working right now for some reason, and I could just be on the wrong link. I guess, you know, I have my personal opinions on, you know, vacation time and sick days and pay and classroom caps, you know. But that's not really up to us, but eventually we're gonna be asked to sign off on it. So that's almost kind of like for me, like, close to the school calendar is like, do we voice as a board, like some of the things we like, don't like? Probably not, but it's like just talking about the pool. Like, for example, I just heard something recently, Tom, this will be interesting, of unlimited time off. And I was like, that's insane. But the reason they do it is because then when people have sick time or leave or whatever, they don't have to pay it out. So that they always have it budgeted, so you don't have to have all this unpaid leave or unpaid sick time that people can accrue year over year. So these companies are starting to go to unlimited time off. I was like, that is crazy. But I guess it's starting to become a thing. I just little things like that when I'm thinking about bargaining and budgeting is like, just kind of not being in the room, knowing what's really being talked about is, because this was the first time I'm hearing of the pool.
I think you bring up
Yeah.
a good point. It's always wise to know the why. So what is the problem you're trying to fix and maybe why it has come about over time, and then your
Yeah.
solution, what's the why behind that? And both sides should have clarity on that. I'll just say that. I think that's an important.
Totally agree.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that there's more work to do on this so that we have clarity around what the premise is, and, you know, so we will have some statistics and some data to share with them on, you know, what other districts are giving as far as insurance contributions to their employees, because ours is very lucrative, generous, yes, thank you.
Very generous.
Thank you, Cass, it's been a long day, I appreciate the assist.
Compared, and I want to say a shout out to Kim, because she has done a lot of research on this with other districts in our region, and we are very generous compared to those, so.
Yeah, so, you know, we will work it out, but it's a bit of a process, so.
Well, I can tell you that, I don't know who's all involved, I assume most of the people at the table there are involved, is I interact with people from the other side on a regular basis in my work, and everybody that I've interacted with have said that this is such a better negotiation than their prior round. They appreciate the openness, and even though we don't agree on everything, I want to just commend you guys for, they really feel that you guys are straightforward, open book. There's no hidden agenda, there's no secrets, and so on, and so
Yeah.
thank you for doing such a good job.
You're welcome.
I
Yeah, we try,
appreciate
and
that.
I mean, we try and be empathetic about, you know, the challenges of working in the district or with, you know, with kids, and, you know, that's a very important position to us, and we really value the work they do, and we know sometimes it's complicated, and so, you know, we're really trying to meet them in the middle and, you know, help them as much as we can. But, you know, as Tom has said over and over again, we have finite resources, right? So the state only gives us what they give us, and, you know, that combined with our local resources, we just can't exceed that, and we cannot get into a financial position like we did previously. So we'll work real hard to identify what those priorities are and what the why is behind that, and we will share some really compelling data, I think, that will help move that along, so.
Awesome, thank you.
What changes in language has been intended to be approved? Anything
Oh,
significant?
those are all online, Wally, you can
Oh,
see them. So
okay.
we've TA'd several articles. I think we've TA'd most of the language in classified. And we TA'd 5 items today with licensed. So, you know, we're through the bulk of that, and it's mostly small changes. So,
16 articles for classified have been TA'd.
Yeah, so, and there's
Just
26.
have financials right now, basically.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, the bulk of them have financial information, or, you know, that type of
Maybe.
thing. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And for, I don't think anybody's really, oh, maybe a couple of people are listening. Maybe it's us, 2 people, Daniel and us. But where can the public see those articles?
Yeah,
On
if
the
you go onto
website?
our website, I'll tell you how to get there. Hold on just a second. Yeah, it's under the HR tab. So if you go to the district website and you go to district and then departments, maybe.
Yeah.
And then I think it's human resources.
Departments.
My computer's being really not nice. Yeah, human resources. And then licensed bargaining 2026, classified bargaining, so they're all up on
That's
this
awesome.
page, yeah.
So, you know, I think it's, any of us that has a chance to discuss this to the public, I think, you know, the public in the past has complained about the lack of transparency. I don't think we can get any more transparent. And I will encourage people to go and look and see for themselves the effort that the staff is doing. That's great.
Could we, do you do a double check, make sure that those links are live? I have heard from some public
Yeah,
members
Marissa told me
recently.
today that the links, there were some broken links, so she's in the process of making
fixing
sure
them.
those are
Thank you.
live again.
Yeah, so what happens is if you go to the search page and you search in bargaining, it takes you to a different link. And when you go into there, then those ones are broken. But the ones here on Google Drive are working. So the way that you guys said to get to it was the correct way. The way that I was cheating to try to get to it, just said bargaining, and I clicked those links, they were not working.
Yeah, they're not working right now, I just looked,
We're aware, we're working on it.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And Tom, the
Yes.
resolution on transfer of appropriations.
Yes, well, just like last year at the same time, it's time for some light budget housekeeping. We'll try to be brief. It can sound a little confusing, but it's meant to be really straightforward. So last year we had a small function transfer of the general fund. This year the general fund looks great. But our special revenues funds, which we call the 2 funds, because they all start with the number 2, there are 15 funds, mostly grants. When we take a look at that, there's one function area of instruction that may go over budget. And there's a couple reasons for that. End of year cleanup takes a while. There's stuff that comes in late. It's not really until August that you really close the year. We also got more revenue in some of those funds than we originally anticipated. So federal Title I funds, we got $155,000 more revenue than we originally thought and put in the budget March before the year even started. And the same for the IDEA grant. We got $80,000 more in revenue. So therefore we had more spending. So in summary, the special revenue funds are appropriated by function area. You've got instruction, supportive services, enterprise and community, something called facilities acquisition, which I'll say something about in a minute, and contingencies for a total budget of $11,851,591. So a function transfer means you transfer a little bit from one function to the other function, but the same budget remains. You're not actually increasing the budget of that appropriation funds area. So we're asking for a transfer of $350,000 from facilities acquisition in that group of funds to instructional services in case instruction does go over budget. Facilities acquisition is a function named by the Oregon Department of Education, PBAM. It's our accounting manual. And like several districts, when we have created this budget more than a year ago, there were some areas we didn't really know whether the dollars should be in instruction or supportive services. This FOR account called facilities acquisition has something called other services, which then ends up kind of becoming a budgetary catch-all that you can put funds in. So that's why there's funds that aren't going to be used there, and that's the source for that internal transfer or rebalancing. So just a reminder, it doesn't change the total appropriation, it just rebalances the function area so one function area doesn't go over budget. It's not a finding in an audit if your function area goes over budget, but it is a note. So the auditor will make a note saying, hey, this went over budget, so you need to watch this more carefully or something like that. And we'd like to be perfect. We'd like to not have any notes at all. Any questions on?
So we're asking for $355 to be moved into instructional services
from the area of facilities acquisition, the function area. Remember, we budget by function area.
Yeah, what's the instructional services increase for? Was that some teachers we added, some IAs? Am I missing the intent?
Part of the reason is some of the grants that are in the two funds, in these special revenue funds, ended up getting more funds, and we always spend 100% of whatever we receive for grants. So the spending ends up being a little more than we originally budgeted for. So it's kind of an internal way. It is.
You're making a balance.
Yeah, it is
ORS
making a balance
294.463 allows you in a group of funds, if you budget that way, which we do, to make this small little adjustment. So you don't have to do a big formal supplemental budget process because you're not changing your overall budget.
Just kind of moving it around a little bit.
And I'm going to mention now, and I'll mention it again at the action time, and hopefully we'll do it. When we make that motion, please include the resolution number in it to distinguish it from other resolutions.
Thank you.
Because I noticed the sample doesn't have that in it, so we want to be sure and have that in it.
This one?
We can have Debbie add that real quick.
High school replacement chiller proposal. Mr. Andrews again, your popular guy.
Yes, well, we got some good news. Our original estimate, and I think we mentioned this in previous board meetings, that would be likely between 500 and 600,000 based on some companies that our facilities director had called. We were able to piggyback on a City of Hillsborough contract with HMS, and with the City of Hillsborough's permission, inquire about getting a quote for replacing the chiller. The gentleman who manages it, his son or daughter, I'm not sure, actually goes to this school, and he's familiar being in the air conditioning business with the layout and with the unit that we have. And the good news is we can increase the tonnage, which decreases the weight, because now the units are more efficient and they do more with less. And so it's actually going to be less of a weight load on the roof to replace it. That's good news number one. Good news number two, the quote's only for $361,000, so we save a lot compared to $500,000 to $600,000.
I was very pleased when I saw that.
Yes, we were
Yeah,
very
it's
pleased.
significantly less.
Because usually the
Yeah.
surprise is the wrong way.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
We're
I mean,
trying
I'm like,
not
this
to go
is-
that way.
sounds almost too good to be true, but it's very exciting. It includes the removal of the existing unit and all of the whatever spot welds and all the details to do everything. So we're asking for approval for the amount, as well as the approval for using the capital reserve fund to pay for the change.
I thought we had approved that, didn't we?
We've talked about it
talked
several
about
times, yeah.
So this one was strange to me just because we didn't do an RFP traditionally. We did this piggybacking thing
Which allows you to get better pricing without
Yeah.
actually having to do the RFP could be much
Faster.
worse. Yeah, because City of Hillsborough's contract was huge with HMS. They don't really, I mean, you really need to ask them based on the amount because it could then encroach in their overall budget dollars that are part of that. But as part of co-op contracts, we're allowed to do it, and we've definitely saved a lot of money.
And you found that through the parent at the school here, or how did you get wind of that?
We found it was recommended to us by Sherwood. The Sherwood School District used the same process through Hillsborough to engage with HMS. And we had a small project, I think it was a control module or something that we thought was 60,000, but we did the same thing and it ended up being like 28 or 30, so we
It
saved
was
50%.
30, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, which was great. So sometimes you find out from other schools how you're not inventing the wheel. All the other schools have HVAC problems
Yeah.
too, another issue.
Let's send Hillsborough a thank you note.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the Wayfinder curriculum release.
Yes. Daniel, I think, has some slides for me. But SEL stands for Social Emotional Learning. So you'll hear me say SEL or SEL a lot, so just keep that in your mind. So this is one of the new, I guess it's not new, but these are standards that ODE asks us to implement. And we previously had gone with Caring School Communities. I believe that's what it's
Yep,
called.
that's correct.
That was pre-me, and I think they started it maybe during COVID. So that was the program that our district purchased. And you will find it hit or miss used in the district. But, you know, we're seeing a lot of changes in student behaviors, and a lot of that can really help with us by prioritizing and teaching students about some emotional learning strategies. And so Wayfinder is one of the vendors that we looked at, and we had some staff come and give feedback. So that's kind of just what I'm going to go through with that. I think Kim sent you they're called T-cell standards like a month ago maybe, so you
Yeah,
might have had
3
a
or 4
chance
weeks
to
ago.
look through some of those. So SEL, those are required standards. They're meant to reinforce positive behaviors and ways for students, like teachers can teach students some emotional support or regulation, or I identify this feeling so I could respond this way. Like kids just aren't coming in as regulated as they did 10, 15, 20 years ago. And so we're working on those things as educators within the classroom. So the curriculum, I know it's also in there, the quote is in there. I think the 50,000 was just kind of the initial cost, but we looked at a variety of curriculums, and the preference among the staff was Wayfinder. So we did do I hosted a K-8 meeting with Wayfinder, and we had counselors and admin and some teachers. I invited anyone who wanted to come to that. And they all really liked the platform, the ease of use. They could go in and search specifically for a lesson. I have 5 minutes. I teach kindergarten and I need help with anger management, whatever it is, and it'll pop you up some lessons. So there's individual activities that they could do, but then there's also core lessons that they could teach to all their kids. But the resounding feedback was that staff really liked this and the ease of it, and it comes with pre-made slides, all of the things.
It's super easy to run. She ran us through the dashboard, and I was like, this is
Yeah.
so like user friendly. So
Yeah.
it's not, like, you know, a lot of times when you add a curriculum product, teachers are like, oh, it's another thing, but I think this is actually not another thing. I think this is something that will really help them manage, you know, behaviors in a positive way in their classroom. I think it'll be really beneficial, K-12, and I think it's not just another thing they have to do. I think it'll be really helpful.
So practically, is this something they identify an issue in the classroom, they go find something that addresses that, and then they,
It could be
Yeah.
both. It could be, yes, there is an issue, what can I find for resources, but also being proactive with, I see maybe as a whole we need to work on this, or like we want to work on this as a school. It could be both
Okay.
proactive or reactive.
And teaching students about, you know, character traits that are positive and that, you know, that we want to expand on, you know, things that we want them to learn.
So Wayfinder is they're one of the leading programs in Oregon. They're aligned with the standards. They do have supplemental health materials. We don't really need those right now because we just purchased that health curriculum, but it's there as an option. It's aligned with Senate Bill 3. And then they have MTSS, which is multi-tiered systems of support. So there's tiers 1, 2, and 3. 1 is all students. 2 is about 15% of students that maybe just need a little extra help. And then tier 3 is about 5% of your students, and it's really individualized. So they have all the tier supports. And they also provide services to over 115 districts. So it's just a little bit about them. So some of the things that our staff have recognized that they're experiencing with students is there's a change in behaviors. Like I talked about, what we experienced 15 years ago is not what we're experiencing with kids anymore. And that we really need some additional support, not just people support, but what can we do to help our students? What can we teach them? What can we guide them? And really our staff needs some training also. I didn't go to school to learn how to counsel students, and so our staff needs some of those trainings and support, which Wayfinder also provides PD of how to integrate this into your classroom. So some of the things staff said that they really want is ease of use. It needs to be easy to use. It can't just be another thing. I don't have time to spend hours researching and finding the exact thing that I need. We've also talked that our district needs some common language district-wide. In one school, we have zones of regulation. In another school, we have ruler. Like there's just no common language. So when we have this itinerant staff, like our behavior specialists and our counselors that bounce from building to building, every building is talking about something different. And so having some common language across the board, not just in the elementary, but K-12. So it's all aligned. So when they go from one building to the next, the verbiage is all the same. And the other thing is we want it to connect to our strategic plan. One of our goals that we're drafting is around social emotional learning and how can we get students to feel more welcomed and invited, and how can staff support students with some of these things. And so we also need this to tie into our strategic plan, and the Wayfinder platform does that. So just ease of use, kind of like what Kim also talked about. Their curriculum is flexible. They can fit it into our schedule. There is a massive library for quick things. It comes with slides. It comes with worksheets. Like, it all comes done. It provides that common language, K-12, and then it does connect to our strategic plan with how to make a welcoming environment, and strategies to engage our students positively. So these are kind of their core skills that they focus on as a whole, and their lessons all tie into those things. And these are also the things that Wayfinder values. So these were things that we can use and implement with our students. So at the elementary level, this is kind of what it would look like for staff to implement. They can do morning meetings, counselors can do things, and counselors can actually put kids into the program and track how they're doing with assessments if they want to. But there's just a lot of different ways that it can be utilized. After school program we don't have, but if we ever did, we could implement some of those things there. Just some quick things that staff can pull. And then at the secondary level, we have AG, so that's homeroom for really what Wayfinder would call it, but different ways that it can be implemented in the secondary level. So kind of what does SEL do? It helps students learn some techniques and strategies to manage emotions. I mean, even my 6-year-old gets mad and he wants to kick me. I said, yeah, we don't kick people. So it's just teaching them strategies of how to handle their emotions. It also talks about ways to handle conflicts. Some people shut down, some people communicate really well, or it gives them talking points. So it also has that built into the curriculum. It would give us all common language. So when a behavior specialist is talking to a student and a counselor is talking to the student 2 days later, they have common language, so they're not having to learn new language every time. And then we can commit to some specific goals and activities as a district team. We've started a PBIS team where we're really looking at what does the district need? What are we doing moving forward? And one of the things was we need a curriculum so that we can start working on this. And so here we are with this, presenting it to you. So next steps is we do have the curriculum that's available. They're sending us some hard copies that we can have. They also gave me permission to share they gave us like a demo account that if someone wants to come into the district office, we can get them logged in and they can look at it. We're going to collaborate with our PBIS team that we've started for a district-wide. We're going to do some PD. In fact, our admin have PD on Wednesday from 8 to 3 about PBIS. So just kind of a component of this, not this program in particular, but PBIS and where we want to go. And we've talked about doing a 0 year. So not just full blast blowing it in, but kind of a slow process. Maybe we start with counselors and they start implementing it, and then we go to the teachers. So like a slow process, a slow rollout. If someone's really gung-ho and wants to go for it, that's great too. And then also just that connection to our strategic plan, and this really does align quite well.
And the training is included with the program, so they actually won't sell this program unless you agree to do the training. The training's really, the professional development's really high quality and really important to them.
Yeah. And when I actually got a PD cost from another vendor, it was almost as much as just the curriculum itself. I was like, holy moly, that's expensive. So Wayfinder was a good
Yeah, Ruler
overall.
was considerably more. It was about
72, I
or
thought, yeah.
72,
So, and then I
70
got a
something.
quote from Caring School Communities, and just their PD, I think was 40,000. That doesn't even include the product. So, yeah. But what questions do you have?
Does anyone that you either presently on staff or know of people that have had firsthand worked with this and have firsthand knowledge?
We used it at Norsanium, and we had just adopted it last year. So I got a real bird's eye view to that year 0, which really looked more like a year 1 implementation because it is so easy to use. Teachers it's so intuitive. If you logged into it, even I knew what to do. And technology isn't my strong point, but it is simple, take and go, and really effective for that common language. What we liked about it is that it is designed high school first with that end product in mind, and so most social emotional programs are designed from the kindergarten up instead of backwards mapping.
Well, in the upper grade stuff, my experience in any of them is done kind of as an afterthought.
Yep.
Oh, we'll do
Yeah.
this so we
And
can
it looks
sell it.
babyish. It
We'll do it so
seems
we can sell it,
babyish.
but
Yeah.
we'll make it for the
But this
little
is
kids.
really, it's geared with that future-ready focus. And so students are really learning skills and talking about them as employability skills and just good citizen skills from a pretty young age. High school kids don't think it is babyish because it's
Yeah.
geared towards them.
If it's geared appropriately and it's easy enough to use, I mean, it's definitely needed. I mean, in my opinion, they've been floundering for years trying to come up with things that will.
And it's
really-
hard,
us some
it's hard to
direction.
have meaningful curriculum for our specialists, our counselors, and our behavior specialists. For those students that do need
Yeah.
something a little bit more intensive, they need a small group support structure. It's hard to create something
I used-
independently that's research-based and effective, and this really is.
Now, when it
I used to
comes-
do that all the time in the high school. I would create, little circle groups
Yeah.
when kids were having a hard time, and I didn't have that resource. It would have been really nice.
And I realize it'd probably be different from different ages and all this, but in the content areas, what's a typical length of class time that would be involved with a lesson?
These tend to be used during like some specialty time, so like that AG time.
Okay.
At the secondary level or a homeroom in middle school. I see teachers in elementary schools incorporate this into like a morning meeting routine. When kids are coming back from recess and they need something to calm them and regulate them before they can dive back into learning.
So, for example, an 8th grade math teacher is not likely to be involved in using this? Or?
They may be, like,
Depends,
we,
yeah.
They would
At least in
probably
my-
have an AG class, like a
Yes.
homeroom class of
Yeah.
Right,
20
okay.
or so kids, and that would be the time.
But as far as their content area
Yeah.
class,
Right,
but
and
through
they're
AG
really,
or
they're so
homeroom, they
easy
would-
to take. Elise and I just did a quick search in Wayfinder for some activities for admin learning tomorrow, and you could easily do like a class kickoff or a closure activity that just, again, is practicing those skills, not necessarily tied to your content. But
Anywhere from
some of
3
them are like
minutes to
3
20
No,
minutes.
but what
Yeah,
I'm getting
3
at
minutes.
is quote unquote, whatever that is, regular teacher
Right.
utilization of it.
Right.
But I could, thinking of it from that standpoint, I could see it, hey, my fifth period has got X problem day after day after day, and I reached into my rope of
Yeah.
coming to a
Yeah.
solution
Yep.
of
Yeah.
how I
Yeah.
can deal with it
In-
with them.
Instead of having to create your own lesson,
Yeah.
I know when I was teaching language arts in 7th grade, I had kids that were not being kind to another student, and I went into my principal and I said, hey, I gotta teach my kids about kindness. And he goes, is it on the scope and sequence? And I'm like, love it, God. I'm like, I will make it onto the scope and sequence. So I had to warp my kindness lesson to match the scope and sequence
Yeah.
of that course, which I did. But this would be a lot easier.
Yes.
And it also has a time filter, so you can like put how much time you have and,
Oh, okay.
and what your topic is, and it will
Great.
give you some suggestions. So it really is very friendly, I thought,
Okay.
Yep.
user-friendly.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think resources that can go home and help parents.
There are parent letters that we could send home, and I think there were some resources that could go home to parents about what they're doing in class.
So I see there's 5 years here, and the training and coaching package is only for the first year. Is there any available, like if we have new staff, or is that then become the principal's responsibility to train them and teach them that?
That was actually the lady that had the representative, that was actually her suggestion to do it that way. So she said they'll come along and provide training in subsequent years if you want it. But she said not to put it on initially, to add it on if you thought you still needed it. So that was her suggestion.
And
So-
typically, one of the things we like to do is train our own people to be able to train each other. Staff are definitely gonna want to talk with each other versus someone who doesn't live the day-to-day
Yeah.
with them.
Right.
Yeah.
So
But if we
we
did
could-
have new people, we would make sure they have.
Yeah, we could definitely
the
add it
resources.
back on. Yeah,
And then just a couple follow-up questions. So this is part of a state requirement, correct?
correct.
Okay. And then second question, we can pay for it, Tom?
We're gonna pay for it out of the student investment account.
Okay.
Yep,
Part of a grant.
part of
Yes.
the grant, yep.
And that'll cover the entirety for each year. There was that ongoing maintenance cost, so was it?
Yeah,
Just
it'll
under
cover the
38.
yearly fee each time, Derek. Yeah,
Okay.
it'll be fine. Yeah, it's a great question.
So in today's action, will we be just approving for the 1 year, or we? how's
It
that?
is a multi-year contract, that's how she wrote it, yeah.
So kind of like what you did for the health curriculum, where we had one upfront cost for 7 years, but this would be over every.
Okay. but
Yeah, I did
We
clar-
will have expenses beyond this though, right?
Yeah, in the subsequent years, yes,
Yes.
it goes to like 37, yeah, some
I think
change.
it's in the,
Yeah, no, I saw that, I'm just getting at, will we, since this is in the motion about the 50,000, are we approving this for the 1 year? And we'll need to do this each year, or are we approving it for, I'm just thinking of recent past and some curriculum things, is all I'm getting at here.
Yep, it's a fair point.
And so, when we do this, are we approving for this initial 50,000 and then it will be brought back to us to approve the second year?
No,
Or
be-
are we approving for the whole thing, so then this 50,000 is kind of misleading?
Well, the whole bid is in there,
Yeah.
first of all, in the packet, so it
Right,
has,
right.
it has each year. We never, like, when we do a curriculum product,
Right.
like, it depends, like, sometimes they charge you for it all at once
Right.
upfront. So like Wonders was a one-time cost, but a lot of times vendors, depending on the vendor, they will let you parse it out over the whole adoption, so they
Right.
split it into sevenths. But we don't bring it back to the board.
Okay.
Once it's approved, it's a yearly amount.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah.
talking a little hair splitting here, legalese. We've got a motion here that says we're approving this program. And if you look at it, we're spending 50,000. We're spending more than 50,000 eventually. So
But not
is it
in this budget
appropriate
year.
to have that in here for, or should we have stipulation here, this is year one?
No, you don't
get-
need, no, you don't need
So
that.
should we have the amount, that amount in there?
Yes, because that's what's coming out of this year's budget.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
And then the other great thing about this is that this is in the student investment account.
Right.
And so you approve that also every year. So this
Right.
is a line item in that program, and it will actually be a change with, so we actually have to run this change through ODE and have them approve
Right.
using those funds for a different
And
purpose,
so we're
which they will
approving this
approve.
basically because we're approving a curriculum, because the
Yeah.
amount doesn't even hit the threshold of where we need to be approving. anyway.
Right, correct, that's correct.
And so, okay, just wanted to make sure we were all clear on that, because some things come back to haunt.
Yeah, hopefully not.
So I guess one more question. Is there any evaluation component to this? So, you know, as people are working through it, you know, you get to the end of the contract or each year, is there on its, how effective it is? If you could speak to that at all, or do they talk about that? Because at some point we'll probably want feedback from like, yep, this is a good program, it's working, or
Like
Or it's-
keep using it.
I think that she did, there is a student survey that goes with this,
Yeah.
or some type of assessment that students take, but I don't know about as far as, staff. And
So-
I didn't actually worry about it because everyone I've talked to that's using it is like, oh my gosh, you should get Wayfinder. Like, I've never heard anybody say, oh, it's all right. Like, everyone's like, oh, you should get it, like.
But I definitely think if they didn't like it, we would know.
okay.
They would, they would tell us, so we would
Yeah.
know.
No, but to Derek's point, no different than what the high school did. They showed us the attendance improvements. This would probably, if this program's working, would mean there's probably less interventions with children, less disciplinary actions. I'm sure that's all stuff you track.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
So,
Yep.
I mean, we could attribute to this work,
Yep.
probably.
Sense of belonging. And that would come out on the Youth Truth Survey too, so every year the
Yeah.
kids take that. Yeah.
So this is a soapbox one for me a little bit, so please give me a little bit of grace here. So we definitely see a change across the site, especially with our children, but do we ever ask why?
What,
Like,
the
the high
change in
school, like,
behaviors?
this social emotional learning training, I think, is helping people to adapt, but I don't think it's addressing the bottom reason why. Why are they so dysregulated? The neurocognitive studies coming out with their kids recently, or they're saying for the first time ever, they're not outperforming their parents. Attention spans. So for me, yes, this is great, but are we getting to the, obviously home and the parents, and that helps with this, but are we also implementing stuff that's part of the problem? So we took cell phones out of the schools, and that made a huge difference at the high school. Are we talking foundationally about some of these things? Because
We
right now,
are.
I have a young person in here that's been doing a puzzle the whole time and not scrolling on social media, and I can't tell you how happy that makes me.
That's my daughter, just for the record.
That's
Like,
Tom's
somebody's
kid.
doing something right, you know, versus I feel like the brain rot that happens and the tablets, and then giving a kid a tablet to learn on and blah, blah, blah. I think the evidence is out there that the stuff is not exactly helping our children. So while this is happening, I'm not in the classroom or those admin meetings of how you guys are foundationally talking about education in the classroom from that standpoint. Because I'm scared to death that we're going to continue to use technology, and we're going to continue to see the same issues. And then we're going to ask teachers to do more and more to basically become more and more counselors, which essentially this is what this is. This is something that teachers did not have to do 20 years ago.
Correct.
My locker rooms are sensory rooms at Mark Twain. That was not a thing. So I would hope this, like the IEPs went up. Like, I want to see, can we do something to lower those numbers, or is this just going to be the status quo?
Well,
That's
we have a process for how we identify kids that need that type of support. There's a definite process in place for that. So that isn't just by chance. Like, we take a lot of data, we take a lot of team input, and there is a whole team wrapped around that student when that student goes on to an IEP. And I would say that I think in the state of Oregon, they are talking about like whether or not we want curriculum products that are technology based, right? So can we, on the next adoptions, do we like really think about that? Are we reflective about whether we want a curriculum product that has a digital component? Because like some of our curriculum does, like iReady, that was here when I came, it's already in place, but I've had it in 2 other districts. It has a digital component for kids, but is that good for kids? And should we minimize that when we can? And how do we teach parents about getting that to happen, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, how do you help kids at home learn before they come to us? What are we doing to improve a student's oral language from home? Like our parents talking to kids, like I saw when I was in the kindergarten a lot this fall, I saw a lot of oral language deficiency in our kiddos coming in. They weren't ready for school because they hadn't had someone talk to them in a not baby talk, but real talk and about real things and about their questions. And so we have to figure out how to connect with our community and with our families and provide that support and give them what they need to help the kids be more ready when they come in, and to minimize the screen activity, because I really do think that's not healthy for people in general.
I would piggyback off of, it's kind of twofold. We have to try and control what's in our sphere of control, and providing students these strategies while they're with us is one thing we can do. Some of the things we can't do is how much screen time kids have at home. So we
Right.
can work to communicate, hey, it is recommended that you do this. Like our admin team and kindergarten teachers have created this kind of kinder readiness packet. Like, and then Patrick made a really nice one pager that we want to share out. Like, hey, your kindergartner should be able to do these things when they come to us. And so just kind of sharing what those expectations look like.
Yeah, and they're on
But
an email
it's
group.
working together with them and trying to find them before they come to us to give them those resources and strategies. But while we have them, if we can teach them some of those things, we know down the road it will help us.
Well, we're really getting into weeds here too,
Yeah.
philosophically, but to address
Mhm.
Josh's concern and everything, in the big picture, we're hopefully helping
Mm-hmm.
train or educate a generation that they won't raise, you get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Break-
Yeah,
Break the
right.
cycle, so to speak.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes easy to say that, this generation did this or that or anything. These kind of problems, sometimes we talk like they just exist. In the 1970s, I taught Magic Circle in intermediate grades. So this is not
It's not
just
new
today.
territory. Yeah.
And that was in small rural Bethany that, divorce was at that time an unheard word, and
Yeah.
the whole business. And so there's been some type of it all along, but the more efforts we put to me, it helps bring a humanization into our education. It helps with, I mentioned it today, in the group I said something along the lines of, if you have relationships with the kids and have a interesting curriculum, have something interesting for them to engage in, that they're engaged, you'll be successful. I don't care if you're a math teacher, a social studies teacher,
Yeah.
science teacher,
That is the
kindergarten teacher,
formula.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
But and this is can be a piece even of that relationship, because it's not only the teacher is hearing me, but my peers are hearing me too,
Well,
and
that's-
things like this.
And
And
we
it's
can, if we can
systematic.
expand that to the parents,
Yeah,
they need to be part of the partnership
Yeah.
here.
and those kids do take that home. I'm super impressed when my little kindergarten granddaughter, the things she comes home and things I taught forever, and I still get amazed at what they pick up on
Yeah.
and retain. And it's like being a parent. It's never the thing you thought they were gonna retain. It's all the stuff that happens when you're not trying so hard
Yeah.
that they retain. But anyway, sounds like a really good, worthwhile program.
I am
Any more?
I am in support of it, by the way. The only reason I brought it up was just a chance for me to talk about it, from my opinion.
Yeah.
And then also it's like, just encourage boldness and, creativity. I always want to see Silver Falls be the best district in the state. Maybe we come up with something else.
It's a good point. What's the root cause here, and how can we really address the root cause?
Yeah.
Yeah. More work to do on that, for sure.
Okay, anything else on Wayfinder? Okay, thank you, Elise. Oh, we get you again?
You just get me keep
Your
going.
other hat.
Yep, my other hat, yes. So this is a super quick one. So I did some purchase quotes with, I think I sent it out to 6 different vendors, where they send it back and they give me their quotes for what the produce would cost on a monthly average. This year we had United Salad, but actually Pacific Coast Fresh Produce came in much under United Salad, and so I'm just here to ask for your approval that we utilize them as our produce vendor next year. And it's just a 1-year contract. We redo it every year, but they came much under United Salad.
Identical scope of services?
So say that one more time.
Identical scope of services?
Yeah, so what I do is I send them, this is how much I need in a month of each item. Tell me how much you're gonna cost me out for each item, and overall they came under by quite a bit, so.
Awesome.
And their references had amazing things to say about them. They're local in Portland, local-ish, but I mean, they're not a big giant conglomeration, they're more local,
Yeah,
Oregon.
sounds like
vendor.
you did your homework and
Yeah.
the quality and service.
We did all the things we're
The
supposed to.
quality and service are there?
Yeah.
All the
So
things.
I just need you to approve us moving forward with them.
Well,
Okay.
I can tell you from my way past experience, they're a really good company. At one point, I ran a restaurant in this town, and I found that after just a few months, I started buying most of my stuff from them because
Okay?
it was fresh, it was good quality, it was great service. If we ran out, they'd
Bring
find a
you
way to get it
something.
to us.
Yeah,
That's great.
So, yeah, they were good.
okay.
Hold on here. Were you gonna go through, I don't need you to go through the presentation, but I'm looking at your financial highlights, and I want to give you some kudos. It's huge, that the gains that you had made. You're saying you're trying to decrease the 250 to 125 next year as well? Can how are you doing that, by the way? Because are we actually going to eventually be in the
lot of
black
blood, sweat, and
eventually?
tears.
Is
I mean, so this year it was really looking at how much do things cost per item, how much staff are really needed at each site for how many meals are served, and really encouraging staff to, like, every time I place an order, I send them the email confirmation so that they see how much things cost, or I'll be like, hey, these foil wraps are really expensive. Do you really need these, or can we get these that are cheap? So it's really a communication thing of trying to just stay in line. I mean, I costed down graham crackers. Like, this graham cracker cost this much, and this golden fish graham cracker was 10 cents less, so we're buying this. Like, it's just, and then it's also looking at the menu. We get commodity items from the USDA and DOD. Don't ask me how Department of Defense is in food service, but they are. And so really trying to put those things on the menu more than the things we have to purchase. So it's
no, great job.
it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but we made it work this year. So,
You mean
but yes, I will go through the food service update.
Okay.
Because I know we wanted to. I did one in February, something like that. So we're pretty much done with the school year. We still have a few financial fiscal things because the year's not quite done. But I thought I'd give you an overview. So this was just kind of a reminder of what all of our schools look like, who gets hot, who gets cold, and just kind of the layout and where everything is prepped, because the high school does prep quite a bit for all of the schools, but this is nothing new to you guys. So some of the challenges we faced were just the unknowns, things we had no idea about, or that we're, oh, that's a thing, okay, here we go. And so just the unknowns. One of the other challenges, we have so many menus. We have 13 menus, and most districts have 6. So just, and those are things that I make every month. I have to check them every month. I have to check that staff do their production records every week. It's just, it's a lot of menus to do, because each grade band, K-5, 6, 8, 9, 12, all have their own nutritional guidelines. So it's a lot for our unique setup. We have a lot of outdated equipment, that doesn't work, but we've made do. And so that was a challenge of, oh, well, this broke. Okay, like our high school cooler and freezer broke, what, twice or something? So it's just old stuff. I think we kind of get that with our older buildings. And ensuring compliance. there's a lot of things that I had no idea go into food service, and they're not just the temps and the like health components, but the ODE USDA requirements. And so this year was kind of a making sure we get those, because we are bound to have what's called an administrative review probably next year. So just making sure we're ready for that. And just the logistics with all of the different sites and the sending out and bringing it, it's a lot to navigate. But we have quite a few accomplishments that I would prefer to highlight. So we did do a student feedback survey in February where we sent it out 3rd through 12th grade. I figured kindergarten for a second, that might be a little more difficult for them to navigate. And all the sites sent it out to their kids. We got really good feedback. It helped adjust our menus for March and on to the things that kids like. Cheesy breadsticks is a really big one, and they really like the walking nachos. If you ever go to one of the schools, they get a bag of Doritos with cheesy, and you put all the stuff in, they love it. What can I say?
Walking nachos.
Walking nachos. It's a thing that they love. So it's better than just regular nachos. We had more control over the menu and quality this year, so a lot of the times cooks would say, Elise, the produce I got is garbage. So I would immediately contact United Salad. They'd give us a credit. Like, it's just, we could have more control. Some of the commodity items that we got this year, I had no control over, because you have to place that in March. So I got control over what we get next year, but it was what it is. We got to utilize a lot of local farmers this year with grapes and apples. We also got some tuna from a farmer off the coast. So we just got to utilize a lot of local people that we got to highlight, and I think that's just that's our community, so it was nice to highlight those. We also updated old equipment. I think we, and most of that was with grants. So very few we paid for out of pocket. I think I think it's later in the slides of how much I spent, but most of it was grant funds, which is great. Not that we don't want to utilize the funds that we have, but when we can use grants, it's better. And one of the other things our nurses especially like this year is they have access to all the nutritional facts. So when they have kids with diabetes, they know how many carbs are in this because our cooks follow the recipes and it's accessible for all of them. Sometimes they say, hey, at least it's not on the menu because it's chef's choice. How many? And we just send them a snippet and it's great. But we didn't really have that previously. Some other accomplishments, is we re-qualified for CEP. So that's what allows us to serve meals free of charge through June 30th of 2030. So our students and our families will not have to worry about having to pay for breakfast or lunch until the 2030-31 school year. So that's pretty exciting. So
It's really important that she did that. So we didn't technically have, she did that early.
2 years early.
So that we would be locked in
Yeah.
in case they changed the rate. And so that was really proactive of her to get that for families in the district. It's really quite a testament to her work.
We served nearly 6,000 more meals this year than what we served last year. And then we utilized about $22,000 in grant funds to pay for those equipment things, or the fresh produce, the fresh farmers, we got reimbursed for that. We've decreased the deficit nearly in half. We're close to half of what we lost last year. And then we're also doing summer meals. Today was the first day we actually sent those out. So we'll do that through middle of August.
Where do these grants come from that you mentioned?
Researching. So equipment grants, I applied for 3 of those and we only got 1, but that's okay. One is better than nothing.
But
He means the source.
Who's
that was ODE,
who's
wasn't
delivering this? money?
ODE was the equipment, they usually do a lot of them, so we got the equipment grant through ODE. And then we have what's called breakfast after the bell is required at some sites based on their like poverty level, and so we do have a couple sites that qualify for that, and it does come with some equipment funds that you can use to buy things. And so we use some funds for that as well.
So it comes from the state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I keep trying to find more. If you guys know of any grants, let me know. I'm willing to write them. So this was just kind of, I just wanted to share our CEP that we got that for families again. And then summer meals started today. So yeah, Josh kind of, he beat me to it. But yes, we got the deficit. We were about $400,000 last year, and we're estimating about $250 this year, and then again projected to be around cutting that in half again next year based on some of the changes we've made. 6,000 more meals, $15,000 for grant equipment, and then the 10,000 for the farm to CMP, that's the grapes and apples and tuna. And then the CEP, just a little note so you understand, the CEP, it doesn't guarantee us 100% reimbursement. They give us about 90%, and then we have to figure out how to come up with the other 10%, but that's better than $300,000 just in unpaid meals. So
Right.
there's a balance. So some of the challenges we had this year was we did have a kitchen that was unsafe to use for a certain amount of time, and they did a phenomenal job of shuffling to the high school and making it work for 2 weeks, I think they had to do that.
Yeah,
But they worked together really well. We had some new programs this year that staff had to learn too. They got trained on it, but it's still, learning new things is not always fun. But we did a lot of training, a lot of ongoing support. I would check things and say, hey, I noticed this. Do you need help? Can I come out and meet with you and sit down and do it with you? And then just the logistics, trying to navigate the communication with our satellite schools. And so it's just a lot of, I talked with James and Patrick and all of them the first probably 2 months was, how's it going? What do you need? We're noticing this, you're noticing this, and just a lot of constant communication. It did simmer down, but a lot at the beginning. So kind of our goal, our strategic plan for food service for next year is we really want to focus on compliance next year, really making sure we're hitting home, because I anticipate we will have that administrative review next year. Continue to get student feedback. What are you liking? What are you not liking? I love when they ask for sushi. Sorry, I can't do sushi, but thank you for the recommendation. Continue to reduce the deficit, continue to do a lot of the data tracking. Josh, that's kind of how I got to the deficit this year. And really focusing on efficiencies. You know, sometimes cooks do things a certain way, and I can come in and be like, have you thought of this? And it can help save them time or save how they do things. So really focusing on improving some of those. This was our team this year. They were so amazing. They were so kind and supportive, inviting me into their team of someone who doesn't have a food background, and really flexible, all kind. They care about making sure kids get good meals and getting what they need, and they're all fantastic. But I think it was an amazing year. I'm excited to see what we can accomplish next year. But do you have any questions?
I don't have a question, just an overall comment. This is pretty phenomenal work in a year. You've set the bar pretty high for yourself for next year. You know, we're always talking about fiscal responsibility and providing a good product, and you've been able to do, I think, both. And I know it's the team of the picture you had up there, so this is really, really good work.
Thanks.
And I think it's just you're another example. You and your team are another example of what's gone on in our whole district.
Yeah.
To put it simply, it just boils down to paying attention and caring.
Yeah.
And those two things, it's not to oversimplify it, but
Yeah.
bottom line, that's what,
I have a question about
amazing.
Robert Frost. I remember doing the tour there. They still don't have their range. Could they use it?
The hood vent.
Yes. Well, there'll be just the whole ability to like cook in there.
So his PTC did purchase him a induction cooktop, but technically we're not supposed to use anything without a hood vent, so we're waiting for that to get finalized. I think Jeff said the last part was, I feel like the fire marshal approving all of the setup, and so I think that's
Yeah.
where we last were.
We'll check the spreadsheet. So we have a running spreadsheet of things that Jeff was working on. So like that chiller thing, like Tom and I dug that, resurrected that and started moving it forward again. And Alex is working on things, and Helen's got things, and Vance has things, and Ron. And so there's a whole team working on that list of stuff that Jeff had been working on. And then Javier Torres comes in on the 25th, so we're super excited about him starting as facilities director, and he'll get the list.
Yeah,
So,
'cause
I mean,
that
yes, we would
hood's-
like to have that
hood's
going
been
with fall.
going on a while.
Yeah, it has been going on too long. Yes, correct.
Well, good work.
Yep, very good work.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I don't think we have any public comment here. Do we have any public comment online? No, okay. And action items. The enterprise zones.
So I move to approve resolution 6826B, establishing a rate of school support fee at 15%.
Second.
It's been moved in second to move to adopt enterprise zone resolution number 6-8-2026B for receiving 15%. All those, or any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passed unanimously. Okay, again, on this resolution for the transfer, if you make it, put the number of the resolution in it, please.
Yeah, I move to accept resolution number 613-2026A, transfer of appropriations in special revenue fund fiscal year 25-26.
Second.
It's been moved in second to adopt resolution number 6-13-2026-A, transfer appropriations special revenue fund fiscal year 2025-26. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Okay, approval of the chiller replacement.
I move to approve the quote from HMH to replace the chiller at Silverton High School.
I'll second.
It's been moved in second to move to approve the quote for HMH to replace the chiller at Silverton High School. Any further discussion? All
This
those-
is huge. I'm excited to get this one done.
Yeah.
Years
Me
they've
too.
been talking about that.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
Yay.
I do have a quick question. When do they expect to be able to do the work?
That's a great question.
I think we said July, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's next month.
Yeah, it's pretty,
Oh,
it's pretty
awesome.
quick,
Cool.
we hope.
Okay, 6D, the Wayfinder SEL Curriculum.
I move to accept the Wayfinder SEL Curriculum proposal.
Second?
Sorry.
It's been moved in second to approve the Wayfinder program purchase as proposed. All those, any further discussion?
The only thing I'll add is that it does mention the 50,000 for the initial, and then we talked about there will be ongoing costs, so
Yeah.
just want to make sure that's on the record.
And I think that's the way it was presented,
Yep.
so I think that it would work with the current motion.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Approval of Pacific Coast Fresh Produce as a vendor.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second to approve the contract for Pacific Coast Fresh Produce Company for our produce for 26-27 school year for food program services. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
Thank you for your time this
We
evening.
are adjourned.